Hey everybody, and welcome back. As you can see, I am in my car. We are headed to the place where I am seeing my specialist out of town, and we stopped to use the restroom, and my husband needed to get some coffee, but I thought that I would just kind of, as I'm able, film little updates for you guys. Not like a total vlog or anything, but somewhat, because as I told you in my other video, I'm going to be getting some tests done and see if we can determine whether or not I have hyperadrenergic POTS. So I'm really looking forward to maybe finding out some information either way. It's pouring down rain, which is actually a good thing because we live in Oregon, and if you are aware, there have been just countless fires and devastation, and we really need this rain. So that's a really good thing. It's not fun to travel in, but if we can get some relief to those fires, then that is a good thing. So we are on our way, and we still have a few hours to go, and I will update you. Also, I'm not sure if I'll be able to record in the doctor's office or not, but I will try to if I can and let you know what the process is like. I do know that I'm going to be standing up for a period of time and having my blood drawn, and I think maybe my blood drawn before when I'm laying down. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to go. If I can document it, I will. If not, I will just let you know about it later. Hey everybody, I am in my hotel room, and we took about 3 hours at the clinic today, so that was exhausting. When the doctor came in, I was standing because the nurse hooked me up to a blood pressure cuff, and she wanted me to stand for 5 minutes and take my reading, and that was really hard. My heart was actually racing a lot worse than it usually does. It was in the 150s straight away, and it was not going down at all. And when the doctor came in, he was like, "Oh wow, you're up there," and I couldn't hardly stand standing anymore, so he let me sit down after a few minutes, and my heart was still racing. I was shaking like crazy, and it was just not fun. I felt really sick in the office. And then he wanted me to get some fluids. He asked me if I've ever been treated with saline infusions for my POTS, and I said no. No one had ever suggested that to me before. So he walked us down to the infusion center, and I got saline, and they also ended up doing the catecholamine blood draw, so that's going to help us see if I do have hyperadrenergic POTS, so I'll be eagerly awaiting those results. My blood pressure was super high when I was standing. It was 160 over something. I can't remember exactly, but super, super high for me, and I just felt terrible. So we went down to the infusion center, like I said, and everyone was so nice. I actually, after I was done shaking, I shook for a really long time, and my heart raced for a really long time, even though I was sitting. Once I kind of calmed down and my body relaxed, it was actually kind of enjoyable because the nurse, or whatever you would call her, was super funny and super friendly and nice, and the people that were having their little infusions were nice, and it was just kind of not fun but enjoyable experience for what it was. And so she actually told me that I could feel better, or I mean worse, like the first day or two after my infusion. That rarely people feel really good right after. It usually takes a little bit. So far I feel okay, just super tired, nothing too crazy. But the doctor had me take this to the hotel, a little blood pressure monitor, because he wants to try and get some good readings for me, because typically with hyperadrenergic POTS your blood pressure tends to skyrocket when you're standing, and that's what it did for me today. But at home when I check it, it's usually low, but then again, I don't really check it after standing, which I forgot to mention to him. So hopefully they get some good data. This thing has actually been a pain. It keeps saying that there's an error after it squeezes my arm, and I don't know if it's not tight enough, or I have pretty small arms, and they said that might be a problem, but hopefully they get something out of this because it's really annoying. Goes off every 20 minutes, I think. Anyways, that's kind of the update. Just chillaxing in the hotel. It's actually really cute. It has this nice fireplace. And I like the decor, and it's just really cozy. And yeah, so I will try to update you tomorrow on our way home maybe, and I'll definitely update you when I get the results of my labs. I'm not sure what other test he did. I thought he mentioned something, but I can't remember. Oh, and he also wants me to try taking Irvabradine. Um, I'm not sure if I've talked about that on my channel before. I don't know a lot about the drug. I'll be doing some research. I know that it works for some POTS patients. He said that access to it in the United States is kind of hard to get. I think we'll be getting it from Canada, and it's pretty expensive, he said. But we're definitely going to look into it and see if that's the right decision for me. What else? I think that's pretty much it. Just wanted to hop in and give you guys a little update. And I will talk to you soon. Hey everybody, I'm back with an update. It's been several days since I last updated you guys on my medical trip to the specialist and all that. So I wanted to let you know I got some results back for my labs. Still waiting on a few, but I wanted to let you know what the status is on it. So like I told you before, we were trying to determine whether or not I have hyperadrenergic POTS, and based on the labs, it does not look like I do. So that's actually really good news, because based on the research that I've done, the hyperadrenergic POTS one is a lot more difficult to treat. It's also commonly progressive and gets worse over time versus, the other forms of POTS. They can improve over time and sometimes altogether go away. So I'm actually very pleased with this. I was almost certain that I had hyperadrenergic POTS just because of the level of anxiety that I would have day to day. But this is actually really good news because it allows me to just kind of get that out of my mind. And, part of our symptoms, I believe, is a lot our attitude and what we think is causing it. And so I'm interested to see going forward with the hyperadrenergic POTS form out of my mind, how I'm going to feel mentally and everything like that. So I wanted to actually read you the lab results because it's a catecholamine blood test. I don't know if you've heard of this, but if you're on the journey to find out whether or not you have hyperadrenergic POTS, your doctor is likely going to order this lab. Again, it's called a catecholamine blood test, and what's interesting, when I was doing research on it, I heard that you are not supposed to eat, especially certain things, so many hours or whatever before the test. My doctor didn't give me a list of things to avoid, and I had eaten before. He didn't say anything about it, so I don't know how true that is, but these are my results. What it does is it tests your levels of norepinephrine, epinephrine, and dopamine. So these hormones in someone with hyperadrenergic POTS would be extremely high, especially upon standing. And these are my results. So for my norepinephrine, my level is 540 pg over ml. Not exactly sure what that means, but the standard range is 0 to 874. So I'm at 540, so we're good there. And these are their labs values or standard ranges. I know that they can vary based on the labs, but according to their lab, and I think they do it out of New York somewhere, I am in the normal range. Now for epinephrine, I'm at 25 pg over ml, and the normal range is 0 to 62. And for dopamine, I'm at levels greater than 30 pg over ml, and the regular standard range is 0 to 48. So I'm well within normal limits on all of them. I was really surprised how low they were. It just goes to show you really don't know until you get tested. And I've heard that urine catecholamine tests can be more accurate, but I've actually already had these done in the past several months ago when they were suspicious of a tumor on my adrenal gland, and everything was normal there. So I think I've covered my bases on testing my, norepinephrine, epinephrine, and dopamine levels, and it's given me a lot more peace of mind. But I just thought I'd share my results with you guys in case you were curious or if you are looking to have this test done. So the other thing that the doctor ordered that I'm waiting on is called a Mayo from the Mayo Clinic, a Mayo Dysautonomia 2 panel. And it's a very, very, very comprehensive blood panel that looks at all sorts of things. I think it's especially looking at different antibodies that your body may be producing. So I think this might indicate, whether or not you have an autoimmune disorder or what antibodies your body is producing, thus causing your symptoms. So I'm really eager to find out more about that. I'll make a separate video when we get those results back, but I just wanted to go ahead and talk about that. The other thing, I'm out of breath talking today. The other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was about the IV saline infusion that I had received for the first time over at my doctor's appointment. And I don't think I had given you guys an update really on that, because I think my last update was on my way home the next day. And the nurse had told me, you can feel a little bit worse before you feel better. And that was the case for me. The first day and a half, I felt kind of crummy. Well, I always pretty much do, but kind of a little bit worse. And then, I woke up the next day and it was weird. I didn't have to think about sitting up. Like, with POTS, a lot of times you wake up and you're like, oh, I got to sit up. Let me think about this. Do I have the energy? And then when you sit up, you have to get up really slowly. And before you stand up, you certainly have to, give it a while. But I just felt awake. I felt alert. I felt like I was kind of refreshed and I had energy. It was bizarre. And that day when we had gotten home, or like a day after we had gotten home, it was like I could get things done around the house. I was on my feet for the majority of the day. I'm not even kidding. Doing random things. I even did my hair. I had the energy to put blonde in my hair. Just all sorts of things. Getting ready for another medical trip we had to take up for my daughter, which we just got back from yesterday. I just felt like I had energy, and like I still felt potsy at times, but overall I felt just so much better. It really helped me a lot. So I let the doctors know that because they wanted to know how I felt afterwards, and they are trying to hook me up locally with the hospital that has a infusion center there, and so they're trying to work that out for me and get me scheduled. I'm not sure what his orders are as far as how much I'll be getting or how often. I don't want to go in too awful often because for one, I haven't driven in months, and because of that, it's created an anxiety around driving for me, which is not good, but I need to overcome that. But I know my mother-in-law would probably take me, or whomever could, but it's just not convenient, especially with having 3 kids who are doing schooling at home and distance learning and all of that. And you always feel terrible going places, especially if you're having a bad day. So I don't really want to go that often, but at the same time, they also mentioned maybe the potential option of someone coming to my home and doing it. And the other concern would be, of course, repeated IVs in your body is not good for your veins. So I will cross that bridge when I get to it, but I'm just excited to have something that is potentially going to help me a great deal, as it did the first time. So I'm excited about that. And something else I'm just going to try and focus on is exercise and continuing to hydrate all day long. I usually do pretty good with hydration, but I know there's days where I could do better. And since I've gotten POTS, I've never stuck to a exercise program because, just you feel so awful most of the time. But I really need to push through and get on a regular exercise routine, a graduated one, and just, build up my tolerance, because I know that can make potentially a world of difference. And, I can't say, that exercise does or doesn't help me at this point, when my doctor asks, because I have not done it regularly. So I'm excited to start doing that. I really need to do it if I want to start to feel better, or at least try something that could potentially help me feel better. So that is where I am at. I hope you guys got something from this video. I know it was a little bit different. Hopefully it's a little bit better than just, me sitting in front of the camera at home. It was a little bit different. I was on the road and all that stuff. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and I also hope you're feeling good, staying safe, and yeah, wherever you are, just take care, and thanks for watching. Bye.